Right, it's our first focus this morning on TVC Breakfast, and it is the 14th day since 6 students of Igbonla College in Ekpe, Lagos were kidnapped.
Now, parents of the kidnapped students stormed the Lagos State Government office in Alausa on Wednesday in a peaceful demonstration seeking government intervention. A lot of people are really concerned how the government is engaging the parents.
Yes, indeed. And we find ourselves counting the days again. It is day 14.
Day 14.
That these kids have been in captivity. Parents are already giving up on government's efforts. They're saying the government is treating this with kid gloves and government is insensitive. And you wonder what the implications of that is if these parents are giving up on government's ability to actually rescue these kids.
Well, the point is, I don't think they should actually give up. The government is doing whatever it can, but the area that should be worked out is how the government is engaging the parents, letting them know how things are going. Step by step. And
without giving out too much information that will jeopardize the situation of the kids. Of course, we have joining us Lagos State National Representative of the Nigerian Union of Teachers, Akintoye Hassan. Good morning, comrade, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, madam.
It's 14 days on. I wonder how the NUT, the Nigerian Union of Teachers, is taking this incessant kidnappings. You know, where the schools are actually have become so vulnerable.
It is not only the school that is vulnerable to the lapses we have within the security sector in Nigeria. It almost covers the entire system. Banking system have their own cause to complain, but recently it gains more prominence within the education sector. The Boko Haram issue, the kidnap of Chibok girls, everybody talked about bring back our girls. We know the number of teachers we lost into that Boko Haram saga, but we talk less because of the security nature.
Now that you mentioned that, do you have a figure that you can actually give us an idea of the number of teachers that have had, you know, that have lost their lives?
It is a daily affair. For now, I may not be able to give a precise figure, but it has grown to hundreds. But because of the security nature of the issue, because we were prepared to face the hazard of the job, so we put in internal mechanism to address the issue on our own, collaborate with the victims of those circumstances, so that we could play our own role and collaborate with the government in making sure that this issue of security is addressed. All right.
Now, we've had complaints. We brought people, analysts here, we've spoken to a lot of people who say that some of the schools, especially if we narrow it down to where the kidnap of 6 students took place, a lot of lapses are found in there, from the area of perimeter fencing to issues of CCTV or surveillance cameras, to the issue of vigilance, to the issue of communication and all of that. Now, NUT on one hand, I know is a union that is meant to cater for the welfare of teachers on one hand, but I know that indirectly, whatever affects students also affects the teachers. What is the NUT doing in that regard, and how is NUT involved in this whole process?
Let me first of all establish the fact that teachers as member of NUT, we are equally involved in this issue of kidnap. We have one of our members whose child is among those children kidnapped. But we didn't talk much about it. The fact is that when there is a problem, we are bound to identify the necessary shortcomings responsible for this challenge we have at hand. After all, this school has been there for decades. We have not witnessed the issue of kidnapping around that particular area.
So have you been able to identify those shortcomings?
You are correct. Some of them you have highlighted, so which we have to address now. But what I'm saying is that the issue of kidnapping is becoming a very serious issue as far as Nigeria is concerned. It's a good business. So it is just that that particular area has been prone to that action recently. This will be the second time. So there is need for us now to brace up, identify the challenges so that we can prevent reoccurrence. But the fact is that all those challenges we are talking about, CCTV, the perimeter fencing, and some other things, this could have been there for a long time, but this time around, it seems the kidnapping business is thriving. And those kidnappers, they look for where they can easily get away with, you know, children or personality that can bring them money. So it poses a challenge to the government. But we know that Lagos State government is not the kind of government that makes so much noise, especially the present administration. They isolate a problem, a challenge, they analyze it, go into research with a view to provide a lasting solution. The evidence we have seen around the state, solving so many infrastructure challenges that have been there for so long, I know that they can't be asleep. And as a union, we are collaborating. We also offer our own advice, because we are equally victims. And some of the level of collaboration is what we would like to know in such a way that it doesn't jeopardize, of course, you know, the attempts to rescue the abducted students. Let's go on a quick break, and when we come back, there's a whole lot more. Stay with us. Now back to our first big story. The Ekpe Igbonla school kidnap, 14 days on and still counting. We hope the counting stops sooner than later. Comrade Akintoye Hassan is of the Lagos National, well, he's a rep of the National Nigerian Union of Teachers right here in Lagos. Before we went on that break, you have talked about some internal mechanisms that you are putting in place to ensure that schools are less vulnerable. You want to let us into some of those mechanisms? We have identified some of the shortcomings in the area of securities around our schools. These we have highlighted and moved forward with a view to provide solution by the government to those challenges. Apart from that, our members also live within the community. So in terms of intelligence gathering concerning these kidnapped students, we also make sure that we render that services in terms of collaboration with the government. Then these parents, you know, we have parent forum. We relate with parents on regular basis. So this is a challenge that has to do with emotion. So as teachers, as psychologists, we work with them to make sure that even some of this information about the condition of their children has to do with information that will put them under pressure to make sure that those children are released. You know, even when you have your child around you, it still poses so many challenges, talk less of far away in the hand of abductors, you know. It's highly emotional, but this time around, all hands has to be on deck to make sure that these children do not stay any longer.
All right. Now, we know that apart from this school in Ekpe, there are other schools around that are close to waterfronts, Badagry, Ikorodu, and so on. Is there any, for the schools that have not witnessed this before, is there any proactive measure NUT is taking to ensure that you alert the students, or the schools and the teachers in those schools to ensure that they are more vigilant than they used to be?
The first step is the sensitization of members, especially bringing to them the experience of the affected school. So the tricks, the intricacies, the manner and the methods based on the experience of this Igbonla saga, so that it can be part of their own experience. We sensitize them, inform them of this strategy so that we can brace up the security and communication network within our members and the parents of these children. So these are the basic step we are taking now.
So what has the response been so far? And I want to imagine that the NUT would have been engaging parents. I mean, they are the ones who are directly involved one way or another when these children are abducted.
Yes.
How cooperative are the parents to ensure that the schools are better secured?
With this situation, you know, I said earlier that we have a member also involved, that one of our member, his child is among the...
Now, I'm even talking about a general situation. Since this seems to be a recurrent, you know, situation right now, four kidnappings in about a year, which means...
Two precisely in Ogbonna. Not up.
No, Ogbonna, yes,
generally.
two, but generally.
Generally, one in
Ikorodu, yes,
and the other one. Yes.
Babington, Macaulay, and all the rest of them.
We engage the parent, we work together. You know, I said we have parent forum. They still have confidence in that relationship and in the school environment. Otherwise, with that experience, especially with that of Ebola, the school will have been empty now, if not the fact that we are collaborating, you know, working together to make sure that such occurrence do not happen again. But it is very unfortunate that it happened again. Not that we just decided to leave the issue unaddressed, but you know, these abductors, each day they improve on their strategy, they improve on the business, because it brings in so much money and it's everywhere. If you want to make quick money, and I think another way to address this issue is by government paying attention to the issue of unemployment. Because somebody that has something doing will not engage in it, because it's a risky business.
And unemployment we hear now is somewhere around 14%.
It's increasing on daily basis.
14.2%. That's going
increasing on daily basis. So it's a serious challenge. So that if somebody has something doing, he won't think of going about kidnap. It's not a simple business to do. It's risky. They know the consequence. If they have the alternative, they wouldn't have gone into that.
But it's also lucrative.
Yeah, it's lucrative because it brings quick money now.
Of course, we do understand
because
your
somebody
stance.
affected.
Now, these parents, before we round off here, the parents of the Bonla students that have been abducted stormed the governor's office yesterday to make demands for the release of their kids. Yes, it is expected. Where does the NUT come in here? Was there any kind of engagement between the NUT and the parents before making this move?
There was none.
Okay.
There was none. But for every action, there are bound to be reaction, especially when you are not seeing the result coming immediately. And we all know that the governor is the father of all. So when you have challenge, you have to run to him because he might not be able to say on daily basis, this is what we are doing. And so far they don't know what he's actually doing, they are bound to react in that manner, taking their problem.
All
but
right.
I know that the problem will be solved very soon.
Okay. Comrade Akintoye Hassan, Lagos National Representative of the Nigeria Union of Teachers, thank you for coming on the program
this
morning.
Thank you.